Welcome back. Another episode of the Empty Gym podcast. Same as last time. We're gonna go with a little different route. Gonna stay away from basketball a little bit and talk a little golf. Just completed the 2023 Masters. John Rahm, the winner, um, after four putting, is the first of 72 holes. Kind of a boring Masters, but I guess we'll start with you, Roach, since you're the big golf guy. What did you think about the Masters this year?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty boring, but I definitely thought it tested guys for sure with how terrible the weather was. But I mean, I guess a lot of people definitely thought at the beginning that it was either going to be Rahm or Scheffler winning it. I mean, right now it's just kind of those two guys at the top. I guess Rory's pretty good too, but
Bad showing for him.
yeah, and Scheffler didn't play well either. But Rahm just looked so good. I wouldn't want to play in his. I know how demanding Brooks is, but I wouldn't want to play against Rahm in the final group ever. Just with he just never messes up. Like for example, on 18, like people don't realize how hard that wedge shot he had to hit in. Like he very easily could have flubbed that into the bunker, and he hit it to 3 feet. Like stuff like that just shows like he is so much better than everyone right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of felt like this Masters felt like different than every other Masters that we've had in a while. For some reason, it just kind of felt off. Like the Masters, like I obviously watched it, it was on and everything, but I just felt like there was something off about it. I don't know what it was, but I mean, I still enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a just tradition like no other. But yeah, shout out to Rombo, ASU grad. So shout out to Sun Devils.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one, Adam. I feel like it felt really weird all weekend. I think the weather probably played a big part in that. Having to move the end of the second round to Saturday morning, and then they finally get out for the third round, and then that ends, or that gets suspended. Then they got to do like, what did Rom end up having to do on Sunday? Rom and Kepka played like 9 holes from the third
They
round, right?
they played 27 total holes, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, but you said it, Roach. Rom, I don't feel like I'd say he didn't play great because he played very good. But I feel like the biggest thing for him is he just didn't make mistakes, whereas Kepka in that last round just was making mistake after mistake and kind of took himself out of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the big thing, and you see it every single year at the Masters, is it's not really who comes out firing from the start, like 7 under, 8 under. I guess Rom did, but
Victor Hovland,
Brooks,
seven
yeah,
under on the first day.
Sam Bennett, Brooks had that lead into the second round, and I mean, what did Rom shoot in the final round? Probably only like 1 or 2 under, and
I
what did he
think it
win?
was 4 under.
4 under, and he shot.
No, it was 3 under because he started the day 9 under, correct? And he was at 12 under when he won.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he was at 9 and Kepka was at 11, I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
he was two shots back.
Don't get me wrong. If I could ever shoot 3 under at the Masters, I would take that. But
Oh, obviously.
for those guys, I mean, they're so good. They look to shoot 7 or 8 under every tournament they play, and it's just like I remember when Tiger. Well, I don't remember. I wasn't old enough, but like seeing highlights and stuff. When Tiger would always win, he would always shoot around even in the final round. It's just because he would let everyone else collapse. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what showed too. Like Rom just he played well. Don't get me wrong. He hit. I think they said like 14 or 15 greens, which when they hit greens, they have a look at birdie almost every time because they're such good putters. But like you just literally let Brooks crumble. And
So
we're
here's the thing about that. I want to get your guys' opinion on this because no secret, Brooks is in the live tour, and they play 54 holes. Brooks was pretty solid for 54 holes. I don't really think that had much to. I mean, maybe it did, but I mean, it's not like Brooks is only strictly playing 54 holes from now on. You know, like he definitely still plays golf outside of the live tour. But for him to kind of crumble, like you said, that final round, I just kept looking, and Brooks he dropped another shot, another shot, another shot, and yeah, realistically, Rahm. I mean, he played well. Obviously, he shot 300 at the Masters in the final round, but I think if Brooksy doesn't crumble like the way he did, it's a lot closer. Because 3 under on a Sunday obviously got him the win, but I mean, not a lot of. I mean, I guess just Brooks crumbling helped Rahm out so much. Like it made it seem way bigger. Like it made it seem like Rahm played so much better on Sunday than he really did. Like I'm not saying played bad by any means, but you know,
I
Brooksy kind of took himself out of it for a while.
I think the 54 holes thing with Liv. I don't think that's the only reason that Brooks did bad. I think also you're playing the Masters, a grueling course with how hilly it is. Like I mean, we saw with Tiger, he had to withdraw because he just couldn't do it anymore. I mean that's Tiger just being the way his body is now. But it's a grueling course to walk for 72 hours, especially 27 or for 72 holes, especially 27 in a day. But I mean, like, so for anyone, it's grueling. But I do think the only playing 54 holes in tournaments played a little bit of a factor. Like I said, I don't think it was like the sole reason or the biggest reason by any means, but I think it does have somewhat of an impact on that kind of drop that we saw after 54 holes for Brooks.
Yeah, I also think it's got to be frustrating watching a guy hit it in the middle of the fairway in the middle of the green every single time, and when it's like,
That can take a mental toll,
yeah, I mean, like Rahm played so boring, but sometimes boring wins, like just middle.
especially on Sunday. I feel like too.
And the bold thing to me was I understand those. I know they always talk about like I think it's 13 and 15 are the two par fives on the back, and they always talk about those like they're so gettable for all those guys because they can hit it so far and they all have like 5 irons in. Um, but he was going at greens, and usually when you have a lead, you just kind of lay up, give yourself a look with a wedge shot. But he was going at everything, so that was like impressive to me, honestly.
I do kind of feel bad for Brooks too, because I like Brooks a lot. I don't like him as much now that he's on the Live Tour, but I was a big Brooksy guy before Live, all that stuff happened. But I mean, last episode when I was just me and Max on here, we talked about Brooksy, and the thing that he really brought up was the 6 inches between his ears, his head. I mean, Brooksy's never in the right mind. It feels like if he's playing good, it's great, but if there's a little, a couple bogeys here and there, like he can completely take himself out of it, and that's literally what he did.
Go ahead. Do you
I
have
was,
something?
I was just gonna say with Brooks, the crazy thing about Brooks, and you guys will remember this. I think it was like 20, probably like 17 to 19. How good he was. I mean, he won 4 majors. Like, sorry, did you guys hear that?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
Um, he won like 4 majors, I think,
he was dominant.
and like
Number one golfer in the world for like almost a year straight.
it's got to be so frustrating being put in a position like that where you're like so close to winning and then you blow it. Like, I understand he doesn't have like PGA Tour events now. He just has live events, which are more laid back, easier for him. So he probably doesn't stress as much. But like going into like the Open and stuff next, like what's he gonna think? Like probably in the back of his mind is if I have a lead, I'm probably gonna blow it. I don't know.
I mean, we saw on. I'm sure you guys watched Full Swing. Uh, just the way I know that was like recorded and shot last summer, and I know he's playing a lot better now. He's won what couple live events and
He
like
won the last one, yeah.
like 2 in the last 6 or something like that. So he's playing well. So it seemed like he had gotten that like monkey off his back a little bit. But I mean, in full swing, he looked mentally. He just looked broken almost. Felt like.
He's had those injuries too that just kind of derailed him, just kind of take him out of the mentally and physically, obviously. But like once you go, I mean, in any sport really, you have some injuries and it's hard to come back, especially like how he was playing. I mean, like any sport, people get injuries and it's hard to come back. But yeah, it's I did see him say that if he didn't get injured, that the LIV decision would have been a lot tougher to make for him.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that quote up. It was something along the lines of like, if he, uh, if the injuries weren't as bad and he wasn't playing as bad and he wasn't like as messed up mentally, I guess, with the game at the time, like who knows, he could probably still be on the PGA Tour right now. But like, it's just kind of crazy how golfers can kind of go through those ebbs and flows so quickly, and like how it can, like you said, Roach, from 2017 to 2019, he's one of, if not the best golfers in the world, and then like post COVID, it all just kind of crumbled down, and then he's like struggling to make cuts, not only at majors but even at some smaller events, just not really playing as good. And then he goes to LIV, kind of gets to be laid back a little bit more, and then kind of works his way up back to playing some of the hottest golf that he has been at. Besides obviously that crazy run he went on. Uh, but yeah, it's just kind of crazy how everything can ebb and flow so quickly.
I'm pretty sure he's got like 2 or 3 runner-ups at the Masters now. That's got to be pretty frustrating too.
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm pretty sure he got second when Tiger won.
Yeah.
And that's got to be so frustrating. I saw he said it's the worst $1 million he's ever made.
Well,
I mean, I would love to make a bad $1 million.
well, the quote he said in full swing, something along the lines of like, he would give up all the money he's won just to have like the feeling of winning a major again. So like you can tell like that's on the back of his mind all the time, and he just wants to get back up to that, like where he has been before. And it's just, like it looked like he had a pretty good shot at it. What on did he shoot 7 under on Thursday?
Yeah.
And so he was tied for the lead with Hovland, and then just played solid on in the second round for both days. Solid on Saturday in the third round, and then Sunday morning he just kind of collapsed. And like you said, Roach, it's just got to be super frustrating. But it'll be interesting to see, because what do we have next up? U.S. Open's next, I think, for majors, in like late May. So it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of figure it out by then, or like refigure it out and see how he does on LIV. But yeah, where's the U.S. Open this year? Isn't it at Wisconsin?
Aaron Hills?
Or was it Wisconsin last year?
I can. I
That's
can't.
out of my realm there.
I just remember looking at it. I can't remember if it was this year or last year, thinking that it was close and I might want to go to it. But
No,
But
it's
shout out Brooksy though,
It's in California.
because
California.
Max Homa, book it
It's
already.
actually,
It's in California.
it's actually at the course that Max Homa has the course record of.
Yeah, Max Homa wins that. I'll bet $100 on him right now.
Los
Get the
Angeles.
sports books out.
What were you saying
But
about Brooksy though?
yeah, I mean, just really shout out Brooks. I mean, I don't think really anybody, including me, expected him to be in contention on Sunday or anywhere near the top 10. Honestly, I mean, he had like 30-1 odds, which was like 15th best or something around there, like tied for maybe 12th, somewhere around there. But I did not expect him to see him up there. So good for Brooksy. I'm happy for him. But obviously, it does, suck the way it went out. But if you're taking the positive way out of this, I mean, he played really good in a major at Augusta for being on the LIV Tour.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on Brooksy?
Nope.
Let's move on to one of our favorite golfers, Tiger Woods. Kind of a disappointing showing. Not disappointing because, nowadays it's not going to be the same as it was. I feel like as much fun as 2019 was when he won the Masters, I feel like it kind of ruined expectations for us a little bit, because now we always have in the back of our mind thinking that he could make one of those magical runs again. But I don't know if you guys saw the video of him walking on Saturday when he was struggling just to walk from where he took his shot back to his umbrella. It just looks like we're not going to see Tiger at a high contention level ever again. But at the same time, we said that in 2019, so who knows? But it looks pretty bad right now.
Yeah, I saw Jason Day said that he was texting Tiger after, and Tiger said he went to the doctor after the round and said he had a screw pop loose out of his knee.
Jeez.
So, and I know, like, I saw social media all after it, and I knew it was coming, that everyone was going to be like, oh, he's faking it because he's playing bad, blah, 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 all that stuff, which I'm sure in the back of his mind that's there a little bit. He's 9 over par. He's got in his mind that he should be winning it. He's won it so many times, but
He's not gonna battle through it like he would if he was like 3 or 4 under.
you can't really fight with a broken knee, like
Yeah.
when you're
I mean,
basically 50.
yeah. It's just he's he's gone through a lot, especially post car accident. Uh, like I said, it'd be nice to see him get back to like the way he was in 2019. Like no, by no means are we expecting anything like the runs he did make uh back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like that's never gonna happen again. And I know that, but it would be nice to see him just like kind of contend every once in a while. But I think even that might be out of the question now.
Maybe
Yeah,
the
it would be nice to see the old cat back, but unfortunately, I do think we're past it. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Any last things on Tiger?
he hit some good shots the first day.
he did. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot better than I would have done.
Yeah.
I will give him this though, for being as old as he is and how broken his body is. He hung in there for a while, like looked just as good as his group for a while.
Yeah.
But
And it just looked like he was at the point. Well, he finished the second round Saturday morning at 3 over, and then uh, went 6 over through 9, I think, and then just kind of knew that the body's not feeling good enough. You're way out of contention. He made the cut, 23 straight Masters cuts, ties the record with I think Freddie and Jack was the other one.
Yeah,
So I mean, amazing accomplishment. I'm sure we'll see him back next year, just trying to make the cut at least.
and shout out Justin
Break that
Thomas for
record.
that.
Yeah,
Because
and
if he wouldn't have bogeyed 17 and 18, Tiger would have missed the cut.
who else was it too? I think it was him and Sunjay M. Both had to bogey.
Sung
something
Jae.
can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he goes moving forward. We'll see if uh maybe plays one tournament before the U.S. Open, if he even plays in the U.S. Open. If if that knee is that bad with the screw popping out, I I could see him maybe taking the. Who knows? Maybe he might retire. But you know that in his mind he still thinks he can win tournaments. Uh, but it just doesn't look that way anymore. But is what it is at this point, I guess.
It is tough to see that,
So
but
The
you
pressure,
know,
it would have to be so hard with the pressure he gets put on him. Like his game, he's not physically as stable as anyone else, and everyone always thinks he's going to win every tournament.
yeah,
When you've won 82, 82,
something like that. I think. Yeah,
82, I think. When you've won 82 times, it's like everyone's obviously going to think you're going to win every time, but
yeah. Well, another old guy, uh, Phil Mickelson, did have a pretty good day on Sunday. I think he went 7 under in the last round. So it was good to see Phil play pretty good.
I didn't like seeing him up there.
it,
I
If I'm
like
being
Phil.
completely honest.
it's it's that's the counter to the live guys only playing 54 holes question, because he played 18 good holes and it was only on this last 18.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting to see. I Phil is one of the ones that I'm not mad about going to live because it's like, you
Oh
know
yeah,
what? He's old. He uh doesn't want to play 72 holes anymore. Doesn't really need the fluctuating uh performance-based income when he can just cut a deal with Liv and uh, get all that guaranteed income. So that's one where like I understand it more. Obviously, I wish he was still on the PGA Tour just because I think he's a fun character for golf. Always has something going on. Always getting in the mix with people a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was fun to see him play well on Sunday for me at least.
I will fight for the PGA Tour 7 days a week, but I definitely think there's some guys out there that Live was a really smart business decision. Like Phil's one of them. Like some of those guys, I don't know if you guys know who like Pat Perez, Charles Howell the third is, like those guys. Like they don't win on the PGA Tour. They hardly make cuts. They go over to Live. They get to play less golf. They play less tournaments. They're 50 years old. They get to see their family all the time. Phil's a good example. And they make more money for getting 40th in a tournament. Like again, I'm always gonna fight for the PGA Tour. Like personally, I grew up loved golf. I never once said though I want to go play on the European Tour. You know, I always said I want to go play on the PGA Tour. It's the same thing. Like so I'm a PGA Tour guy through and through, but the Live Tour and like I went to a Live event and it's pretty sweet, I'll be honest. Like it's different for sure. It just seems like one giant frat party, but it's pretty cool.
It seems like it's almost like an all-star game every weekend.
It was the the craziest thing was I remember I went on a Sunday or I guess it was a Saturday, but uh Cam Smith and Dustin Johnson were the final pairing, and I remember Cam Smith was hitting a he had a birdie putt on like the seventh or eighth hole, and he had "All Me" by Drake blasting in the speakers behind him. It was crazy, and they
And
just embrace it.
yeah, and PFT Commodore, he defined the Live Tour the best way I've ever heard it, and he says it's just golf with music.
Yeah.
And I think that's just literally down to a T. Makes sense.
Yeah, it feels like that's a good tour for a lot of guys. That's just a lot more relaxed. That Cam Smith is one where I wish he would have stayed on on the PGA Tour, as it seems like he was just kind of starting to hit his peak a little bit. I mean, he had that he won the Open, right? And like he wins the Open, and then like 2 weeks later or something says he's going to Live. And that was one that just kind of sucked. Where it was like, I wish he would have stuck it out a little bit longer, see where that trajectory could have gone, see if he could have like won the FedEx Cup or something like that. Uh, so those are the ones where you wish they would have stayed. But I agree with you, Roach. There are a lot of guys where I think it was just kind of the smart decision for them. They get to play a little bit less golf, get to see their family more often, get guaranteed money. So is
It's like
what it
Ian
is.
Poulter said in Full Swing.
Yeah,
I mean, he basically like brought it, broke it down. He's like, I'm a little older. I'm not playing. I'm not able to compete as well as I used to. In the past years against these younger guys. If I can, he said, I've been away from my family for 20 plus years now, and they're like all his kids are kind of getting to the age where you want to be around more, and Live is a good opportunity for somebody like him.
yeah. Any last thoughts, I guess, on Phil or any other Live guys?
Not really.
Another guy I wanted to talk about was Sam Bennett. Ended the second round at, I believe it was 8 under, I think. So he ends the second round at 8 under. Has the press conference where he says that not that Augusta was easy, but that he's played harder courses, and it was a little funny to kind of see him struggle after that. I kind of enjoyed it. Uh, I'm all for confidence, but at the same time, uh, I know he probably didn't mean any disrespect to Augusta National or anything, but it was kind of funny to see him talk about how the course wasn't that hard, and then he had some struggles after that.
Shout out him though. I mean, for an amateur, I think he had the two lowest rounds Thursday, Friday, as for
Yeah,
an amateur. And it was crazy to see an amateur up mean, very well in contention. I think he was in solo second at one point, tied for second at one point. I mean, he played really well, and it was a feel good story to see. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was I think his dad passed away a couple of years ago with some sort of cancer, and his dad said like, don't wait to do anything, and he had it like tattooed on his forearm or something like that. So pretty cool story there. And then he goes out and does this at the Masters. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think that so he's the USAM champ. I feel like the hardest thing ever would because the past Masters champion always plays with the USAM champ, so that it's usually an amateur, obviously, unless they just turned pro. But stepping up on the first tee with Scotty Scheffler's got to be the most intimidating thing ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Handled that so well. And shout out the Aggies because did you see he plays for Texas A&M. They played today and he didn't play, but he went and was a coach today. He got on the first flight and flew out to their tournament. So good for him.
Yeah. Well, now I feel kind of bad for talking shit about him, but yeah, I mean, it was an awesome story, and it was very cool to see how well he played. But yeah, I wish he could have stayed in contention a little longer. But like we've been saying, Augusta is a grueling course, takes its toll on people, especially later in the week. So, but still, awesome performance from him. Only amateur to make the cut, like you said, Adam, was in contention for a long time. Uh, Not obviously the low end by a mile, but to be in contention to win the whole thing was really cool, and uh, yeah, it was just pretty awesome to see. So I guess I'll just kind of open it up. Do you guys have any last thoughts on the Masters of stuff that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. About Rory. I mean, he took a dump.
Yeah, I should have brought him up. Yeah, that was tough to see.
It's because it's kind of one of those things. It's like, I mean, Rory's been playing as well as he has been in a while right now, and it
Dating
feels
back to
like,
last year too.
yeah. I mean, at the Masters, it's just he needs that to complete the Grand Slam. It just kind of feels like every Masters, it's like, where's Rory? Like he should be up here. He should be in contention. And I mean, he had third best odds, second best odds actually. It went Scotty, Rory, and then Rombo. But yeah, Rory kind of laid an egg this weekend.
Yeah, that was shocking to me. I thought he was going to play really well.
I thought this was like going to be the one too. It just kind of felt like it, not like that it had Rory written all over, but it felt like he had a very good chance at winning it this year.
At least like contending, but to not even
Exactly.
make the cut, I mean, and he got kind of tough tee times too. I think he was in the afternoon on Friday when the weather really turned, and he just could never really get it going.
I feel like that's kind of just Augusta for you though. Like it's that hard.
Yeah,
And I saw I think it was Brooks talking about it. He was like because he was talking about his final round, just saying like he has played that course in through practice rounds and tournament rounds. He's like I've played it 40, 50 times now at this point. He's like I know every single shot on the golf course. I've hit it in every single spot. I always like know what to do like whenever my ball's in the fairway, whenever my ball's in the rough, he's like, and every single time I step over the ball at Augusta, I'm uncomfortable.
It makes sense. I mean, yeah, obviously. And
yeah.
they switched it up a little bit this year. They had, I mean, Max and I talked about it. I think it was the par 5 13th was like 35 yards longer. And it kind of seemed like there were some tee boxes that were in different spots too. But one of the par threes had an odd tee box.
I think it's 10. Or it's the one on Amen Corner. Is that 10?
Amen Corner's 12, right?
It's 10 through 12.
Okay.
It's either 10 or 12.
I think it's 12, the one with the bridge.
Yeah. That hole played no longer than like 150 this year, and usually it's like 180. But the scores were actually worse, I think, because of just where they put the pins.
Yeah, that is the one thing too about Augusta. Like you do all this work to get through some like skinny fairways, some dog legs, and stuff like that, all just to get to a hole location or pin location on a green with three different slopes that's tucked into a corner, and it's like they the uh, groundskeeper does a great job of making it tough and keeping the Masters as one of the tougher events in the on the tour, and lived up to it this year. But yeah, I guess I'll say again. Any final thoughts on this one?
I was just gonna say with that, it keeps me involved because um I don't know if you guys do this, but I love watching the shot tracers, and I swear like 50% of the time they'll hit shot tracers like not nowhere near the pin, and the announcers will be like, "Oh, this one's gonna be good," because they know exactly where they're hitting it. They'll hit it on the right side of the green, and it just funnels all the way down to the hole. It's like, how do they know how to do that?
Yeah,
See
I mean,
that's where I would struggle because I love going right at the pin.
Yeah,
yeah,
I just why not? You know,
you
I mean,
see
if I
so
take a big ridge, I'll obviously try to play it off there. But if I'm standing 160 back in the fairway, like I'm just gonna go right at the pin.
right.
you see so many like wedge shots and uh, chips and stuff. Like for example, going back to Tiger, like that chip in I think '97. It was it '97 out of the, like
The one from the left side,
yeah on
threw it
16.
all the way up to the top, better than most.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like that. Like the preparation that goes into this tournament, knowing all of those slopes and how exactly they work, like uh, all the spin you see on those shots, all the like I don't know. It's just that's why it's my favorite. It takes so much knowledge to be good at that course, so much preparation. So that's why this is my favorite tournament of the year, despite all the additional, I guess, like looking for the word, but all like the lore and pageantry, I guess is the word I'm looking for around the tournament.
And we had a tree fall too.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of odd thing to see at the Masters.
yeah,
Like you said, the pageantry. You don't think of just a tree could be falling. And luckily, it was nobody was hurt, but that was
yeah.
crazy. Like that video is like they're just like putting on. What was it 16 that it fell on?
I think so.
Oh, I can't
I
remember, but
could
I saw
I
that
could
video.
be wrong. I feel like I saw it was 16, but regardless, I mean that big tree just fell out of like nowhere, really.
Yeah, that
I,
like you
I
said.
feel I feel like what makes the Masters and also the British so cool is like the US Open and the PGA is just played at a random different course every year, and they just try and like the PGA they always go low. Like when I remember when Brooks won it in Chicago, like I don't know, probably 5 years ago or so. I'm pretty sure he shot like 20 under in the three rounds and just tore it up like bunch of 67s. And you see that with the Masters a little bit, but like, and then like the Open, they just make it as hard, or the U.S. Open, they just make it as hard as possible. So the winner's always at like three under. But for the British, it's always at St. Andrews, and for the Masters, it's always at Augusta. And it still takes like such a toll on those guys, even though they know exactly like what shots they're gonna get and what the greens are gonna do and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I
it,
can't imagine like going up to Augusta and hitting a tee shot. I mean, realistically any PGA Tour event, yeah, but like if you got people that are lined up like this right next to me, I mean, you all be wearing helmets when I'm hitting because it's I'm bound to hit somebody.
I
yeah,
saw I saw this thing on Twitter. It was like if you take an average golfer who shoots like 82, like a 10 handicap, and you had him play a match against John Rahm uh, on Sunday at the Masters, John Rahm would have to give you 30 shots to even make it like square, to make it fair.
I think John Rahm would still beat me, and by bad.
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah. Any final thoughts on this one?
No, other than just book Max Homa for the U.S. Open.
Max Homa for the U.S. Open. All right.
This is a preview of our U.S. Open preview.
Yeah, exactly. A little look in the future. Do you guys want to touch on getting back to basketball, a little bit of the portal, and then wrap it up?
I would love to.
Yep.
All right. I will say I'll start it off. Big weekend for the Dogs. Butler gets 3 transfers this weekend. Landon Moore from St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Um, Pierre Brooks from Michigan State, and Cam Hunter from Arkansas or Central Arkansas. Uh, I would like to say I played a minor role in that by picking up the food for several of those recruits. But yeah, good weekend for the Dogs. But
Hey, wait, this is important. What they eat?
we had Cracker Barrel for breakfast one day.
Nice.
That was the only meal I picked up. I'd take that back. And
Well,
I
maybe the Cracker Barrel is what did it for him, though. You never know.
yeah, and shout out. I don't know if this is a NCAA recruiting violation by me saying what happened. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble for this, but I don't think any of our 13 viewers are gonna tell on me. But the shout out the recruit that did have the Cracker Barrel. Their family did not eat the whole thing, so I got to have the leftovers. So I got some nice French toast, some bacon, some sausage. So it was good.
Was it Mama's breakfast?
No, we just got like a tray of French toast, a couple trays of hash brown casserole, which I did not dive into, a couple trays of eggs, some bacon, and some sausage, and a box of coffee. But
Good stuff.
it was
Nice.
good. It was good.
Shout out Cracker Barrel.
Happy for you.
Shout out. Thank you. Just more guys I get to rebound for. Um,
Chest
but
passes. The thumbs down.
just like that. Just like Coach Yarko taught us.
Who
Um,
all did the Dogs lose?
So we lost Miles Tate, who is now at Appalachian State. We lost Miles Wilmoth, who is now at Hofstra. Um, Jaden Taylor, who will be deciding tomorrow morning between Arkansas or NC State. I know Jaden's not listening to this, so I can proudly say I hope he goes to Arkansas so that he averages 2 minutes a game. Uh, Chuck Harris, who has yet to make a decision, and Seamus Lukosius, yet to make a decision. Pierce Thomas, yet to make a decision. I tried to get it out of him every Monday in business law, and he doesn't tell me. And then Manny Bates to the NBA draft.
So
So
probably
we're looking at a whole new roster for the Dogs next year. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, we're bringing back 5 guys, I think, is all. And we got 2 recruits coming in, a walk-on, and so far 3 transfers. So I think we have two spots left.
Boy, if you give me a call, I'm available. I'll take a visit.
Yeah.
Adam, I want to hear your thoughts on Jeremy Roach to the NBA.
I didn't want to talk about that. I'm not surprised. There's a little glimmer of hope with him keeping and maintaining the eligibility, but with the guard power that we're bringing in, I really don't think we necessarily need him. Would I love to have him back? Yes, but I mean we have Caleb Foster, Sean Stewart, Jared McCain, obviously Proctor's coming back, so there's 4 really good guards coming back. But I am happy for him because he was one of those guys that stuck around a long time, longer than most Duke players did, and it was good to have that veteran-esque leadership that you don't see on too many Duke Blue Devil rosters, unless it's like a fifth-year senior who rides the bench. But really, I am happy for him. I could see him. I don't think he'll necessarily get. He might get drafted, but it won't be till late. if he does. But I think he'll pick up a G League contract or something like that. Maybe maybe like what Trey Jones is kind of right now in the NBA, something like that. Obviously, Trey Jones is a starter right now. He's been playing his ass off in San Antonio, but yeah, happy for him. Lost the. I mean, the brotherhood lives on forever, but we lost somebody today.
It's not. It's nice to see. This warms my heart. It's nice to see Duke guys that stay for more than 1 year.
That's
That
why
is true.
That's why I love having Proctor back. I mean, obviously he's very good, and it's good to have that, sophomore, junior, senior guy who's kind of running the show, running your offense. But yeah, Jamie Roach was that guy for a while. I think if he doesn't come back for Paulo's freshman year, I don't think we sniffed the Final Four. Realistically, he was a big part in that tournament, and just kind of helped glue those guys together. I mean, you had Wendell Moore with them. You had Mark Williams, who'd been there before, but I don't think Wendell Moore could handle the offense like Jimmy Roach did.
Yeah. It's a big loss for Duke, but they got plenty of guys to keep him in the mix next year. We'll move on to Illinois. Um, 2 pickups today. Marcus
Domask.
Domask. I could not think of his last name. Marcus Domask and Justin Harmon from SIU and Utah Valley, respectively. Don't expect this to be the top 2 transfers that Illinois gets, but they're two solid gets. Domask, I could see starting. Harmon definitely won't be. Harmon should be off the bench, but he'll be a good point guard off the bench. Domask brings something to Illinois that we desperately needed, which was shooting. That's something we were pretty terrible at, both behind the 3-point line and at the free throw line. He brings a solid repertoire between those 2 things, as well as just being able to make plays on the ball. What if need be, like that's not his main asset, but that's something that he can do. Roach, you watched a lot of the Valley this year. What did you think about that pickup?
I mean, all Valley player, really good. SIU's really only option, so he got the ball a lot. Probably averaged 18 to 20, I would have to assume. Plays like the traditional white guy that I feel like teams need to win, in my opinion. He's like the Grayson Allen, kind of like just the gritty white guy who I thought Meyer was going to be, but he wasn't. I'm excited for that coming from the Valley for sure, but I'm more excited hearing today. You probably know more than I do, seeing that I'm seeing maybe a Shannon come back.
I have been doing some research on that, trying to figure out if that is a possibility or not. It sounds like it's more of a possibility now than it ever has been. Uh, I I would still lean that he doesn't come back just a tiny bit, but I'm much more confident that he'd come back now than ever. I'd say it's as close to a 50-50 toss up as possible. I wouldn't really be surprised either way, but a lot of the smoke coming out the last couple days has touched on that possibly being an option. It's weird. I will say it's weird to say he hasn't even declared for the draft yet, whether he maintains eligibility or not. Uh, it's April 10th, and he still hasn't even declared for the draft. I don't know when the final day to enter the draft is. I think it's actually coming up soon. I'll see if I can pull that up. But
What about Coleman?
I've heard uh, that is more likely than not he will be coming back. So April 23rd uh, is the final date to enter the portal or decide if you're entering the draft or not. May 15th is the last day to enter the portal. Um, so he's got less than 2 weeks now to make that decision. I don't know when the last day you can withdraw from the port or from the draft is. I think that's not till like mid-May. I think or maybe even like June, but I think they get a chance to at least like go to the combine or something before they have to decide whether they're coming back or not. Uh, so that'll be interesting to see. But it has been kind of weird that we haven't seen an announcement yet from them. But we'll see how that goes. Uh, the smoke a lot lately has been on Tiger Campbell potentially entering the portal. So we'll see if that happens. But I guess, do you guys have any other portal news?
Yeah. One thing since you guys are talking about players possibly returning, you're gaining hope. For my team, particularly is Filipowski. I think him coming back is snowballing into possibly that he could return next year. Like you said,
Has he declared yet?
no, he's done nothing. So he definitely is not going to enter transfer portal. It's draft or it's back to Duke. But I do think there's growing possibility that Filipowski could be coming back next year, which would be incredibly huge for us next year. And I would love to have him back.
Where did Dickinson go?
He hasn't decided yet.
Hasn't decided.
Caleb Love did go to Michigan, though.
Yeah.
Isaiah Riviera.
I haven't seen anything on him.
I saw all of his offers were Power 5.
Yeah.
Duke included.
I haven't seen where he's going yet. To get back to Dickinson, I think everyone thought it was Maryland for a while, but apparently, like as of last week, he'd been in the portal for like 7 to 10 days, something like that, and he hadn't even talked to Willard yet. Kevin Willard, Maryland's coach. So that's interesting to see. We'll see what ends up happening with him. He's definitely the number one guy in the portal right now. But yeah, there's like we said this on a podcast I think a week or so ago now, Adam. But I think you're gonna start seeing another wave of guys entering the portal. I think you're gonna see another wave towards the end of May, right before the portal closes, of guys who have declared for the draft and might decide to come back and instead of going back to their schools enter the portal after they get their feedback from NBA people. But definitely a crazy time right now, and I think it's just going to keep getting crazier.
Yeah, I agree. I did see another portal guy, LJ Cryer, went to Houston, correct?
Yep.
Which that's a pretty good replacement after losing Sasser to the draft for Kelvin Sampson and the Cougars.
And they just got another guard too, Damian Dunn from Temple. So
they lost somebody too, I think, to the portal.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was, but
Trayman Mark from Houston committed to Arkansas.
Yeah, so they lose Mark and they lose Sasser, but now they're gonna have a backcourt of Shed, Damian Dunn, and LJ Cryer. So Houston picking up right where they left off. I believe next year is the year they enter the Big 12. So gonna start to see them get to play some higher competition, which will be interesting to see. But yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on. Any last thoughts on that? Or are we ready to wrap it up?
I think we're
I'm all good.
All right. So we'll get this up on everywhere you can find a podcast as well as YouTube. We'll be back probably Wednesday night. Do some stuff about the NBA playoffs, which will be starting up. I believe the Wednesday night the Bulls have a playing game against the Raptors.
I think it starts tomorrow.
Do playing games start tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the 2 playing games are tomorrow.
So probably the West tomorrow and the East on Wednesday. Because I'm pretty sure the Bulls play Wednesday, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was just looking at the bracket before this, and it said playing games start the 11th.
Yeah, so a couple playing games start tomorrow. We'll see if our Bulls can find a way to sneak into the playoffs. At this point, kind of hope they don't. Because if we do somehow win the playing games, we have to play the Bucks first round. and I don't want to have to do that 2 years in a row. But yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday night with a little NBA playoffs preview. Definitely some interesting matchups in the playoffs this year. Uh, so that'll be fun to watch. But yeah, I guess that's all we got tonight. Like I said, we'll get this up on YouTube as well as anywhere you can find a podcast. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you back on Wednesday.